We have 6 matchups, as you can see on the screen right here, that we're going to be talking about. This is our key matchups that we really want to do. If you could, just please hit the like, subscribe, share this as much as you can. It was awesome last time. You guys were amazing in the chat. Keep that stuff going. We had over 340 people actually watch that video, so keep helping us out, guys, and we hope to keep bringing you good content. So last week, or we talked about 2 days ago, the Chiefs going in for the first game of the season. Me and Cheese also chose the Chiefs to win. We're both currently 1-0. We're going to have a thing throughout the whole year where we're going to compete against each other, see who picks the right teams and things like that. So just keep it a little bit fun. Hopefully you can join with the chat and stuff and try to come together as one community right here.
Yeah, look, we talked about we had one game Thursday, but guys, we got 13 games coming to us tomorrow. You know, we got to start off with a good little positive vibe. You know, cheers to some Sunday football. All right.
Cheers, baby.
Definitely cheers to that. But okay, a little bit of good vibes coming in. But yes, guys, really excited about these matchups this week and almost every game this week. You know, getting it back started after Thursday's night game for sure.
So the first one I want to start off talking about is the Seahawks versus the Falcons. Obviously, I'm a Panthers fan. You can tell. I wore my jersey from the Super Bowl 2004, 38. Showing some love. I do this every year just to try to get some good luck and good juju coming our way. But, yeah, Falcons are a division opponent. Led by quarterback Matt Ryan. He is a pretty good quarterback. He's one of the top guys. He threw for over 4,000 yards. It was close to 4,500. You know, they didn't really establish a running game last year. Devontae Freeman is now not on the team. They got Todd Gurley shipped in from the Rams. Hopefully he can resurge as one of the elite runners in the league because he's always really fun to watch. They got to break that barrier. Devontae Freeman only had 656 yards, and if you're trying to win in this league, man, you got to be able to run the ball, and that's just not going to cut it. With those 4,400 and some yards, 1,394 came from Julio Jones, who arguably is one of the top receivers in the league as well. Okay, that guy's he's an animal. They got a good young Calvin Ridley who's coming in, and he's actually going to probably make some noise this year. That's another sleeper pick for you fantasy guys, hopefully, because Atlanta likes to throw the ball. Austin Hooper was one of those guys that got shipped off to Cleveland, but they did bring in a new tight end in Hayden Hurst. He played for the Ravens last year. He was kind of overshadowed by Mark Andrews, and for good reason. Mark Andrews came out of nowhere, basically, and just took over that job, and Hayden Hurst was actually drafted sooner than him. But I think he brings a lot of potential for this Falcons offense to try to do something special. Then on the other side of the ball, I'm more of an offensive guy, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to Seattle. What they bring to the table, Russell Wilson, everybody knows who that is. He actually had some pretty good rushing yards, 342 yards. Making it happen. Matt Ryan didn't have that aspect in his game too much, but Russell Wilson threw for 4,100 yards. They did have over a 1,000-yard rusher in Chris Carson. He's sitting at 1,230. And then they had a 1,000-yard receiver in Tyler Lockett. But the receiver that I really like a lot, and I wish I could draft him on every single one of my fantasy teams, is DK Metcalf. Second year.
It's crazy.
Second year coming into the league. You look at that guy. He is Calvin Johnson 2.0. I'm really excited to see what he does this year because he can go up, get the ball. He's fast. He ran like a 4.3 something 40 at the combine last year, and he just got all these attributes that's going to help him be one of those top tier receivers. So keep an eye on that guy. Defensively, I think Seattle's got it beat by a long shot. Bobby Wagner being one of the top linebackers in the league. He flies around. He has a great co-partner in KJ Wright. They're two guys on the same page. They get it done. Their backfield, or should I say secondary, is pretty good. But if you got that D-line presence, they lost Jadeveon Clowney this past year, so we'll see who emerges as one of those elite pass rushers for this team. But those linebacking core, man, as leaders on the football field, that's what you need. What do you think, Josh?
I gotta agree with you on that. I think Atlanta will surprise some of the anticipation coming in with them. I think for sure that Seattle will come on top in this game, and I would break it down to also, like you said, that linebacker core. just with Wagner within itself, I mean, that guy is a very, very, very special player, and they're under a really good coach who's been in tons of situations and tons of years. And what does Todd Gurley do? I know he's, been banged up here and there, and people's got big question marks on him, and he says he's feeling good right now and things like that. But what does he really do, and can he bring that explosiveness to that offense, which they're going to need to have now, I think. But, I agree with you on most aspects of that, and I would probably go with Seahawks on that one, being on top.
As well, going with the Seattle Seahawks to win that football game.
Well, I'll talk about the next matchup, and I, out of mine, wanted to talk about the Bucs and the Saints. We got Brady versus Brees, man, and that's something people have been wanting to see for a while. I know I have, and also Tom Brady went on record saying he picked Tampa for one of his reasons, being that he plays Tom Brady, or he plays Drew Brees twice a year now, and he wants to go ahead and run that conference. Okay, so I'm extremely excited about this. The Bucs have a lot of weapons now. The Saints also have a lot of weapons when you're looking at their side too, with Thomas and Alvin Kamara and stuff like that. And Drew Brees is still absolutely a great, great quarterback. But we're also talking about so is Tom Brady. And I know there's a big question mark on him and Gronkowski, and then they bring in McCoy. But something I really want to see is, what does Ronald Jones do? Because they got him projected to start. McCoy getting the touches after that is second right now. I know they're probably going to rotate him, all three of those guys in a bunch of situations. But just having those three guys absolutely opens up your offense to a whole new dimension. But I really want to see what Ronald Jones does. Does he really bring an explosive running game to that Bucs offense, which only just helps Tom Brady? Tom Brady.
What about Fournette going to the Bucs, man?
I see that too. They got him projected third right now, but like I'm saying, they're going to use all three of those guys. I know I would, and it's going to be fun to see. But out of those, I know what Fournette can bring. We know what McCoy has brought in the league before. I know he's, toward the end of his tier and things like that. We know what those guys can do. We've seen what Jones could do a pretty good bit last year, but I also want to see who's going to get majority of those carries. Okay, which way do they get it situational in those carries? And does Ronald Jones step up and be that number one back? And then we can, they put McCoy in a certain formations and situations and kind of get Fournette to be kind of like that short yardage third down back. I mean, is that something they do, or do they totally tie the knot? But I'm really intrigued to see what Jones does with that. And then you got, with Evans and Godwin as your receivers, like those guys are absolute playmakers. And then even when you look down the line at tight end with Gronk and Howard and Brady, you can have three, I think, tight ends that can start for a lot of teams right now, in your offense right now, which is going to open up once again a lot of formations, especially with double tight and things like that they can go with. They went 7-9 last year, and I know it looks like a brand new team this year, but offensively they were tied for third out of 32 offensively, which I thought was absolutely crazy until I started doing the research. But their defense came 29 out of 32. And their defense is a real question for me in this matchup. David and White, I think, are one of the best linebacker tandems in the league, and they're really starting to hit the peak of their career. So I really like that. I do like the pass rushers that they have. They've been solid. They're veterans. They've been there for a long time. But the DBs are a real question for me for the Buccaneers, especially going against Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, who can catch the ball out of the backfield and really get into space and make things happen. Saints, talk a little bit about them. Like I already talked about Brees, Kamara, Thomas. Jared Cook is one of the outliners for me. I want to see if he can continue to keep being that solid check down target for Brees, just in case things get hastier. It's a close game and things like that. Defensively, I really want to look at Marcus Williams and Marshawn Lattimore. I think they're going to have a really good game, especially against Tom Brady, who can pass the ball and throw it all over the place. They were one of those that were tied with them third out of 32 for offense. And then defensively, the Saints were 13 out of 32 for defense, and then with a 13-3 record. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be something that football fans have anticipated for a long time. If I had to pick, maybe it might be a little biased, but I'm going Bucs by 3. I want to see if Tom Brady can actually put together and mold what he's been putting in words for the past offseason. What do you think about that?
I'm going to come in and I'm going to go against you on this one. I am taking the Saints, baby. And the only reason in my last segment, I don't like Tom Brady. I know he's a GOAT, right?
Yeah.
He's won some of the Super Bowls, whatever. I respect the man, but I absolutely hate him. And that's the whole reason why he played us in this Super Bowl, and that's why I wore this jersey, because I think that conference, man, is pretty strong and stout, and he don't know what he's stepping into. He's going to get hit in the face, and I love it, and I can't wait. I think the Saints got way too much firepower, and they're a little sneaky on defense, too.
I think Brady still was off. But I like it.
I'm with you. We got to go separate on that one. Screw Tom Brady. If you're watching this, Tom Brady, I'm just kidding. So,
no worries, baby.
Next game that I'm going to talk about, guys, is the Colts versus the Jaguars. I know that one really doesn't highlight a lot for a lot of people, but I think it's one of the better games that's going to go on. One, Gardner Minshew, right? Nobody knows what the heck he's really capable of in year two. They got a good young receiving core in Jackson.